Transition. Hello guys. Did you miss me? It's been like 2 weeks in the last live stream. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I got things to discuss, and then we're gonna start with the two articles. Okay, the major announcement here is that I'm actually gonna, if you notice on my screen, it shows the latest community tab. The point is, I would like people to vote on this, and I'll probably throughout the stream put this out here. But I want people to actually vote on this because going forward, I want to make certain content that is going to be based on kind of like this. For me, I'm talking from the camera with images appearing here and there on the screen. And the reason, of course, is because, as I said in the post, but I'll state here as well, there are many topics where I can't cover it in a video essay, or better yet to say, I don't think it would make sense to cover in a video essay, because sometimes you have questions about, like, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that, and I don't think it's worth to go through the labor of going through stuff, making a detailed script, putting images, mapping stuff out. I don't know if that's worth it or not. So what I'm going to be doing instead is making a simple video discussion, again, like this, but it's going to be more in a simpler form. So the tab currently, it has a 16 people voted so far. I'd like more, so I know for sure how many people actually are interested in this. And once we know, or once I know how many people are actually interested, I'll put the next poll tomorrow on potential topics we can talk about. And these could be long videos, but they're not going to be a lot of editing compared to, say, my other stuff. So that's kind of the plan with that. And other than that, for video updates, I'm working on the Lelouch versus Light, and it's going to be based on the intelligence. I'm getting through that. I'm trying to get out this week, maybe next week, but hopefully I'm going to try to get out this week. So that's what the plans of all that stuff. So make sure you guys vote on this poll here, because I need to know what type of topics, or if you guys want me to do these type of topics in the future, these kinds of videos. All right, so that's with that. And throughout the stream, I'm going to keep going back to this poll to remind people that please vote if you guys want me to do this type of content. Because after all, I made this content for you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that last video I made too, discussing my how I got into anime stuff. All right. So one thing we should note before I actually get started with this article, which is the Screen Rant 5 times Geass was effective and 5 times it wasn't. So you guys should know that this is, I think, the last major Geass article on Screen Rant or on CBR, as far as I know. I mean, I could do a quick check. Unless something changed recently, I'm pretty sure this is the last one. Let me just do a quick check of this. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is it. So that means that next week we got to start doing video responses. And I think the first one is going to be, let's get rid of this one here. First one's probably going to be this one, which is, what's it called? Oh, that's right. Watch Mojo, Geass versus, yeah. This is going to be the video that we're probably going to do 2 weeks from now. So look forward to that. I'll probably do it on StreamYards too, because I hear that's better for like video content and streaming. So that's going to be what's going on with that. Okay. All right. So now we took care of that stuff. Let's get into another article of Geass, specifically from Screen Rant, but it's all the same when it comes to this in CBR. And this one is, it's not the worst I've ever read, but it's also kind of, it seems kind of random because, second here, I don't know why they picked these specific instances. It claims they're the most effective, but that's a very subjective viewpoint. And even within the subjectivity of picking something, they could have picked way better ones. So we're gonna go through it and see how it's going, or see how they did. All right, Geass. 5 times Geass was most effective, and 5 times it wasn't. Geass's Lelouch may wield an incredible power, but that does not mean that he is all important. Geass is effective in every situation. Okay. Yeah, it's true. It's not always effective. Also, and by the way, they're going to conflate um, effective in terms of, let's say, it actually worked on someone versus it not working at all. Meaning, like, he used the Geass power and nothing happened versus using the Geass power and the actual result of it wasn't that effective. Also, keep in mind, this list is not exclusively about Lelouch. It's about anyone who uses Geass. They don't really specify that in this video, but you should know this is really anyone using Geass, not just Lelouch. Okay. Geass is a psychological thriller anime set in an alternative timeline where the protagonist Lelouch V. Britannia inherits a power known as Geass to compel any individual to his command and then vows to destroy and create the world. Actually, it was the opposite. He wanted to destroy Britannia before he got Geass. Recreating the world, that was like, I guess it was afterward, but still, I like the way they word that. Okay. Throughout Geass and the sequel series, Geass Lucha Rebellion Arc 2. When just do Lucha, whatever. Geass is used countless times by characters who possess it to defeat their enemies and protect their allies in Lucia's involving master strategy. Wait, what? What kind of sense was that? Geass is used countless times by the characters who possess it to defeat their enemies and protect their allies in Lelouch's involving master strategy to defeat the Imperial Government Empire? Geass used countless times to defeat their enemies and protect their allies in Lelouch's master strategy. You think Charles Geass' usage was in Lelouch's what? CBR, man. Long sentences that don't make any sense. Couldn't they just done a period and whatever? That made no sense. I think they're trying to say is that Lelouch uses Geass to evolve his strategy, but it's saying like a bunch of characters did. Again, they're conflating both Lelouch and other Geass users. Just make it clear in the article. Because they're so concerned, I guess, with SEO, they have to put in like stuff in there, keyword stuffing. Lelouch, Geass, but in reality, it's about all use of Geass, not just Lelouch. And that's why we're actually going to, at the end of this, we're going to go through what I think were better use of the Geass and least effective after we're done the article. Okay. However, much like any power, things don't go quite according to plan. Absolutely. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to like readjust the microphone. This is a new setting, by the way, for live stream. If you guys like it, let me know. I kind of like the one better because it's more of a diagonal shape, and more importantly, I can put stuff here you guys can look at too. So, hope you guys like this better. You guys let me know in the comments. All right, number 10, Ineffective, Colin and Lelouch. At the beginning of the series, Lelouch uses Geass on Colin in Ashford Academy to discover she's one of the Nightmare Pilots. Guys, it's a K. There's a K there. I know. I'm a jerk, but like, look. Hold on, brain. That's kind of the point. It's supposed to be it's a play on words. That's why it's nightmare, like night, whatever. It's like because mare is like a horse, I believe, right? Mare, horse. Yeah, so it's like it's supposed to be a play on the two words, I imagine, like a knight and then a mare of a horse. Yeah, whatever. And of course, it's not like nightmare, but whatever. They messed it up. While this first Geass is successful and he uncovers Colin's secret identity, his attempts to use his power a second consecutive time. Wouldn't it be his attempts to use the power multiple times afterwards? Because I guess it's fine. It's not entirely accurate, but okay, fine, whatever. but it fails to activate. Right. This is the first time Lelouch begins to witness the limits of his power. Also, it's when Colin begins to suspect Lelouch may not be who everyone thinks. Okay. So what they're saying here is essentially that when Lelouch uses Geass on her the second time, it didn't work. So it was ineffective. Okay. No complaints with this point, other than the weird wordage. And also, Colin begins to suspect Lelouch. Yeah, but it also ended after the same episode because he used the, he had Sayako with the Geass power, or he commanded Sayako to play recording so Colin wouldn't suspect him. She didn't really have any issues with him afterwards until the end, but that was Lucia's fault, not hers. So she didn't really suspect him after that. True, but like, I don't know. Ineffective. It was ineffective. It's more like it just didn't work. I guess it's our same thing. In fact, let me just do a little, just so we're using the same term. First of all, that's not how you spell ineffective. There is an N. Okay. Wait a second here. Ineffective. Okay. Not producing any significant or desired effect. Okay. I guess that works. Number 9. Effective. Rollo's death. Although Rollo pretended to be Lucius' younger brother in order to suppress his actions. Suppress his actions. I thought it was to get C2. In case he got his identity back to watch over him. Rollo actually developed a strong bond with Lelouch. Later, when the Black Knights discovered Zero's true identity, they betray him and set up Lelouch to be executed. Out of options and even ready to die, Lelouch conceives defeat, but Rollo emerges to save him. Using his Geass to the fullest extent, Rollo uses the Shinkiro's nightmare frame to escape their pursuers and get Lelouch to safety while sacrificing his life. It's a pivotal moment for Lelouch, who not only survives, but also has finally cut all ties and renounced the world. Yes. Okay. So with this one here, yeah, it was effective. He took out lots of nightmare frames when he was in the Geass power, so this is definitely a good example. In fact, without his Geass power, they probably would have died. Not that Rollo was a terrible pilot, but I mean, they freaking had Anya the Mordred firing at them, so they were probably going to die anyways if he didn't use the Geass ability. So, yeah, this was definitely a very effective use of Geass, not necessarily Lucius, though. I have no complaints. Again, this article is not the worst, but anywho. Number 8, Ineffective. Shirley's memories. Over the course of the series, Lelouch realized those closest to him are likely to get hurt. Shirley ends up torn between her love for him and the guilt over his atrocities at Zero. After Black Knights kill Shirley's father, and Shirley nearly fatally injures Valletta to protect Lelouch, Shirley is at the near breaking moment. Trying to protect Shirley from her inner torment, Lelouch erases her memories. There also was Mao involvement in there too, right? I mean, she was actually pretty calm until Mao got involved, and then she was screwed. If you're going to talk about the events that led up to this, you have to talk about Mao, because he was one of the big factors into her losing her mind. Anyways, while things return to brief normalcy for Shirley, who was able to live happily again, Jeremiah's Geass cancer eventually causes Shirley's memories to return. Filled again with despair, she slowly plummets towards her death. There's a lot of things to unpack with this. Okay, number 1, you have to say, it talks about Lelouch's Geass ability on her, I believe. But Charles also used his Geass on her as well. And here's the other thing, too. It wasn't ineffective because Jeremiah canceled it. That's not really, when I think of ineffective, because remember, we just looked it up, like it didn't work. No, the Geass power totally worked. That wasn't a problem. The problem was Shirley was actually kind of remembering a little bit in the end of R1, and you had the Geass cancer undo it. But does that mean that the Geass power itself, or the commands rather, were ineffective? The answer is no, they were very effective. So what you mean to say in this article, and again, that's why this is a little confusing, it's not ineffective in terms of the Geass didn't work, it's ineffective because in the grand scheme, it didn't help. And they do say at the top here, in all credit to them, they said that things don't always go according to plan, or don't always go quite according to plan. So what they're saying here is the plan was for her to not be involved in everything, and it didn't work. So basically, the Geass to remove her memories didn't work. The Geass part that Charles did worked perfectly because it got her to go back to where she was. So his was actually effective. Lucia's, I guess, wasn't. They should have been more. They should have specified more. In terms of her death, well, she actually forgave Lelouch. She wanted to help him out. It says here that she, like, filled with despair, she plummets towards her death. She didn't actually commit suicide. That's not what happened. And more importantly, she forgave him. She told Suzaku that no one is. You can forgive anyone. That's not what she said. Nobody is. All right, I forgot what the exact quote was. Give me a second here. Give me a second. I have a list of all the quotes, by the way. In case you're wondering, like, how I do that, that's just how I do it. Give me a second. You guys don't need to see this. Let me just quick here. Let's see. She says, hold up. Sure. She says the following. Nothing is unforgivable, In other words, it only means you're not willing to forgive them. You don't want to forgive them. I forgave them. I chose to a long time ago. Okay. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it says in your article that she filled again with despair, she slowly plummeted towards her death. No, that's not what happened. Her depression did not kill her. It almost did, but Lelouch ultimately saved her. What killed Shirley was Rollo's jealousy that she was going to try to reunite Lelouch with Nunnally. It had nothing to do with her despair. She was actually pretty happy, all things considering. So, terrible take there, guys. She didn't kill herself. Yes, it said in the show it was ruled a suicide. But if you actually watch the show, that's not what happened. I have a bad feeling that whoever wrote this point skimmed through the show and didn't really look further into it, because this was a very, like, of all the scenes in Code Geass, R1 or R2, it doesn't really matter. Shirley's death was probably one of the more dramatic, sad, awful things. So that was a terrible take. Just god awful. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Number 7. Effective. Suzaku lives. Typically in the series, Lelouch uses Geass to kill the target. Yeah, that's true. Although there were times where he told them to be as slaves or to do this. It really depends on what, like, the actual command to kill. It wasn't the most frequent. I don't have a list on top of my head of all the Geass commands. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I do, actually. Maybe I do. Give me a second here. Do I just have how... you know what? Give me a second here. I'm going to get, like, one quick thing here. Let's see something. I made a fax of Lelouch many months ago, an article, which probably you guys have to do a video for it too, but there was a I actually took note of all the commands he did in the series. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Yes, articles. Facts about Lelouch. It's empty, of course. Oh, that's so frustrating. I took note of it. Oh, that is so annoying. I thought I took notes of it. Oh, well. Anywho, I took notes of it, just as I can't find it at the moment. I don't know if kill was the most frequently thing he said. It probably was up there. I don't know if it was the most frequent one. I know we'll argue over stupid things. Anyhow, however, in a rare moment, Lelouch commands Zaku to live. Why would it be? Why is my connection terrible? That's so stupid. The resolution, I still know the resolution, and I also closed like all of my apps. And I'm using Niner Explorer. I'm using what's it called, Edge. So it shouldn't be doing that. Back to the topic. However, in a rare moment, Lelouch commands Suzaku to live during their battle on Kamina Island. I don't think there's a J in Kamina. Okay, now we're getting really like into. Let's see something. Yeah, there's no J. It's weird. There's not even like, what is this, Kamija? uh what? Anyways, this power compels you in future battles to defeat his opponents, and also enables him to survive after Colin destroys his nightmare. Enables him to survive. Well, if she destroyed it, he would have died. So what you mean is it prevented him from being destroyed by Colin. This use of Geass and Suzaku is also a pivotal moment for Lelouch's endgame and the legacy of Zero, who will remain the Knight of Justice and protect humanity for all eternity. Okay, a couple things here. It says rare moment, implying Lelouch doesn't tell people to do things besides die. Even though he tells people to give me your nightmare frame, to ignore what I'm doing, to what's that? Another one, like make sure you collapse the settlement, right, for the Tokyo settlement. So during the end of R1, right? There's a bunch of different commands he does. I wouldn't say. See, that's the problem. They said typically, but now they're saying he doesn't. It's a contradiction because they're saying in rare moments he told Zaku to live, but then they're saying typically he tells people to kill. So typically, is that meaning all the time? Because again, that's not. It's not really true. It depends on the situation. That's why you gotta be careful when using certain terms, because I don't think that's accurate. Like I said before, if you actually look at the fight between Suzaku and Colin in turn 18, his nightmare frame wasn't destroyed. It was critically damaged. If Colin destroyed his nightmare frame, he would have died, and he never would have fired the flare warhead. So there's that. Now, in terms of this actually being effective, that's a very debatable topic, and here's why. Because did it work? Yes, it worked. It worked until the day Zaku will die. It will never stop. It'll probably be the longest active Geass recorded. But was it effective? Sure. It helped. Not only did Zaku obviously live, but they used that ability for him to stop the flare from detonating, right, in turn 24? Turn 24, I believe. So it was effective there. He defeated Galahad Bismarck. That was an important use of the live. So it was definitely effective. At the same time, though, it also caused the flare to be fired, which it basically nearly killed Lelouch and devastated millions of people. I don't think that was part of the plan. And remember, it said in the very beginning here. Let's go up real quick. It said in the very beginning, things don't go according to the plan. And we've already seen one point here, which was right here. It was ineffective because she got her memories back. So even though the plan was for her to not have her memories back, she got them, so it failed. So in the same regard here, Lelouch used the power so Zaku wouldn't die in that one instant to save his life, but it backfired because it also killed millions of people with the flare warhead. So that's why it's not definitive that it was mostly effective, but the parts that it wasn't effective was pretty bad. And Suzaku himself hated the ability. So you know what's funny? I want to see if I can find some real quick. There was a CBR article that I've discussed multiple times. Only one video specifically, but it was like, here it was, Suzaku, and it was things never said about Suzaku. And one of the points, I believe, God, this article was so terrible, but one of the points was, where was it? It was like, was it this one? The flare warhead. Hold on, let me type in the word. It was gift, yeah. Lelouch used his Geass on him to live, and it was a gift. So I find it funny that they used the word gift here, and they used the term, and they mentioned how it was effective, implying like in both cases this was a good thing. And for Suzaku, it wasn't. And for those people who died because of Flea, it definitely wasn't. So I wouldn't call this a definitive win. It's like 75% it was. Read some comments real quick before we move on. Okay. So it failed. It wasn't non-effective. There was no effect the second time. If you're going by Pokemon analogy. Yeah, you're right. You're right, because essentially I should have thought about that. Because if it was effective, it would have done something, just not a lot. But not doing anything is not even ineffective. It just didn't do anything. That's a good point. Good point there. So the Geass was effective until it was negated. Right, exactly. That's why it made no sense, because it was working fine and then it was negated. So the question is, what do you mean by ineffective? Do you mean like the Geass power itself didn't work, or do you mean that the in the storyline it didn't matter anyways, the plan failed? And we've seen now 2 examples of contradictory in their own statements. I'm sure they put no thought into it like I am, but still. Do your research. Okay. I'm surprised Tamaki is in the game before Colin. Also happy UP's in the game. But what factor could she do in the game? Well, what about Shirley? No offense to Shirley. We're talking about Janissary Code, by the way, which is coming out in September. End of September. They better, by the way, not to go on a rant here, but if they don't want to release the game at the end of September because they have more stuff to do, that's fine. Just say December or January. I don't care. If I had to wait 1 year, basically, since the announcement was in December, 1 year for the game to come out, that's fine. I'm not going to complain, but stop with these. They keep pushing the goalposts. Guys, just pick the time and stick with it. It's okay, okay? Just stop, like, it's going to be end of August. Now it's September. I see where it's going. I see where this is going, but I'm hopeful in the month, next month it'll be out, and I can finally play the game for you. I don't even know if the translator is going to work, but we'll see. If I have to, maybe I could pay for something to translate it. I don't think they're going to go international and get English subtitles. Maybe they will, but I'm assuming they won't. At least early on. Okay. Well, for Colin Lush was still studying his power. Actually, oh wait, one more thing before I continue this. So I know there's a lot of characters in the game, and actually I can quickly go to that website. Give me a second here. Genesis RE code. Let's go. For some reason, I can't get to the actual website. I have to go through like this whole thing to get to it. So if you actually go to the site, oh, I should have. There it is. Okay. So look at the characters they have so far. Let's take a look real quick here. I might do an update video if you guys are interested in my thoughts on the game and where I think it's going. Okay, so you look at these characters here, right? You have Nunnally. Now, I know that you're trying to talk about Yuffie, but what can Nunnally do? At least Yuffie can move. She has shown to be able to pilot a Nightmare Frame and can fire a weapon. What is Nunnally going to do in this game? I mean, they're fighting. There's some photos here. Let's see. Yeah, they're this is the combat in the game. What is Nunnally going to do against this? Those are glass, glass skulls, and what are those? Oh, those are. Oh man, Sutherland's. Oh, that's like the combination between get the names. That's the combination of Geass, MX. That is. You want to go to Britannia? I like how you can go by Britannians. No, they're not Gariffs. They're called. No. None of these. I think it's based on the Vincent, but I don't remember. I think the Vincent, they turned into that at some point. Command model. Let's see. What's it made from the Vincent? Vincent Vard? Yeah, they're Vincent Vard. That was right. Okay. So those Nightmare Frames were based off the Vincent Vard. So what is Nunnally going to do against these enemies? That's my question. If all the characters are useless, there you go. And yes, why was Tamaki before Colin? And by the way, where's C2? She's not anywhere. Like, all the gear they have here, no C2 available. We'll get to that obviously in the if I do want to do a video on it. Like Miles pretty cool in this game. I think he'll be very effective. And then where's John Rowe? And also Shin Hyuga. Where are they, guys? 3 characters from this, okay? Oh, and no Knights of the Round members either, except for Gino. Very interesting. And no Resurrection and Renya, we have these 2 characters. That's it. No Dash. No Dash. It's a sad day. Okay. Moving on here. For Leprechaun, Lush was still studying his power. Yep, that's true. It was technically a failure because it didn't work. It was ineffective. But yeah, he didn't know what he was doing at the time. And Lush actually thought his Geass was like broken or something, which is kind of interesting. Why is my stream keep there? This is so frustrating. I literally lowered the volume. Anyways, do you think Psycho is the most loyal to Lush? If you want to look at the entirety of the show, then probably. Jeremiah was pretty loyal to the end, and I mean, he's the one who resurrects him. Well, him, C2, and Shirley together. Shirley was pretty loyal too, but like throughout the whole show, probably Psycho. Jeremiah, it's hard to say. Both of them together were very. They did whatever they could to help Lucia. I'd say it's a tie. Well, what's interesting is she was working for the Black Knights before the first battle, so at least she didn't know Lush was there at the time. That's true, but she was still serving the family. I think that's the point. Well, Psycho's so cold and Master Luch. Right, exactly. I think she or Boy and Colin most loyal to him. May have forgot someone, but Colin was pretty loyal the entire series until the end, which honestly I don't blame her. And even then, she still wanted to work under him, so. The first sentence of point 7 is dumb. Like how you said, but I never know about how Sudaku is the only one he has to live. It's poignant, but I don't know why. Well, it's more like the fact that he only commands people to die, and he does other commands too. Unless they're saying like, I think now that I'm thinking about it, maybe they're trying to say that he normally kills people, but in one moment he tells someone to live. He also told Shirley to live too, which is true. But right, it was really awkward stuff. That's true. Do you like Geass and its rules should have been more fleshed out more? Absolutely. The Geass powers Lush has, ironically enough, he does spend a lot of time discussing it, but I still felt like there was more things they should have explained. Because there's some parts I'm just like, wait, but how do you I'll give you an example, right? They don't really explain this, but when Lush uses Geass power on Colin, for example, she was answering his questions, right? And then randomly it stopped working, which was really weird. So Lelouch has the ability to just stop the Geass usage whenever he feels like it, releasing people from the command of it. Because I assumed, and this is the problem I have, I assumed that when someone is given a command, they don't stop until it's completed. And some commands don't have a definitive end. For example, Yuffie was going to keep killing Japanese people until there were no more Japanese people. And not because she had some specific goal in mind, because that's what the command stated. So Lelouch told Colin, answer my questions. He didn't say answer 5 questions, 3 questions, questions for today, questions in this moment. He just said answer my questions. That could be forever. And randomly, it just goes off. They don't really explain how that worked, as far as I know. And in cases like Clovis and Cornelia, when he gave them a Geass command to answer his questions about his mother, they just simply didn't answer because they didn't have the ability to do so, even though they could have done something else to find out. Like if he said, who lived or something, or no, what happened to my mother, he could at least say, Clovis could say, I don't know who, these people might know, but I could find out or something. Instead, he just kind of freezes in place. So they should have made it very clear about if someone can do a command, can't do a command, how long a command lasts for. Is there like a pause period where you use it and then the person will respond, or you don't respond, it just goes away? Because there are a lot of times where they should be more clear about the Geass ability. Okay, here we are. Just by looking at the game, it looks like Robot Wars plus Super Robot War Game. I have it has English subtitles, so Gender Code could have English as well. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that it will, but there's no guarantees that it will. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited about the game. Okay, I don't talk about it much. I do post every so often, but I'm quite excited to see where it goes. It looks cool. No doubt about it. It looks really cool. That's why I keep getting pissed off. They keep delaying the game, guys. Just definitive dates, okay? I'm not angry, just disappointed. As far as not only piloting, technically, I don't think you need Lex to operate Nightmare. Then she just needs whatever the Blind Prince and the Resurrection movies had to see. But yeah, it's dumb. You know what you could do, AJ? You could do this. They can cross over to Nightmare of Nunnally and have her use that Nightmare frame, which was a Geass power, and then she could battle everybody. That'd be a really funny twist if they gave her that ability from the alternative universe. And you might be saying, well, isn't that like an imaginary story? I'm like, yeah, it is. But I mean, they're combining all the different universes together, so it doesn't really matter to me if they want to do that. They won't, by the way, but just my thought in my mind. Yeah, Shalio did have special equipment. Oh, by the way, since you brought up Shalio, there's no resurrection in the game, so where's Shalio and Shamna and all the Forgnars? I guess we're not going to get them. Good point, though. That's true. Is Zaku in the game? I didn't see him. I thought he was. Let's see. Oh, I didn't want to use this one. I wanted to open a new tab and then do it. I'm very smart. Yes, translate. Always translate. I don't know anything else. I think he's in the game. He might be one of the first characters. That's why you didn't notice. Let's see. Wait a minute. You know what? I think you're right. What the heck? I don't know why I thought I saw him. I'm not seeing Suzaku. Well, here's the thing, right? There's an entire row here of empty characters. So you gotta believe that Suzaku will probably be here. C2 might be here. Maybe more Knights of the Realm might be here. I don't see Dalton. He could be a candidate. Detar Reed. That's so weird because didn't Detar Reed say he told Jeremiah that he's not like the battlefield is not a place for him? So kind of weird. Oh, and this is a minor nitpick. You guys know I feel fan service, but like, why is Colin's outfit very like when she's in combat, it doesn't look like that. When she's not in combat, I guess she has it open like that. I don't like that. That's kind of like whatever. That's what it is. They know what Colin's here for, I guess. Yeah, of course, you got Chiba as well. No, besides Toto, you don't have any of the Holy Swords. They're missing a lot of characters. I'm guessing this last row is for those characters. We're gonna see though. Okay, but you're right. Saku's not in the game. He'll probably be the last person just to piss you off. They'll probably put Nina before him, and Nina's gonna fire Flea Warhead. She's gonna make an exclusive character, and when you use her, she just fires Fleas because that's what we want to see. Oh, what you could see at the end. I'm brain dead tired. Yeah, she could, but again, the problem is she wasn't very mobile at that point. Yeah, Shalio could too, but I think Shalio had some more experience probably Nightmare frames before than Nully does. So I think you need to have to pilot Nightmare frame. It's not just the physical ability to operate the buttons, but there's a lot of mental cognitive ability as well. I'm not sure if Nully has that in her to do it. She could be trained, I guess, but it'd be a lot harder with someone who can't walk. And it's kind of weak. Like Shai didn't seem. Oh, Shai was kind of weak too. I don't know. They'll have to convince me otherwise, I guess. She's not wearing eyes here. That's why you were probably thinking that. Not a big deal. Okay. First was spring, then August, now September. Third time's a charm. Exactly. Now they have to stop changing the date unless it's confirmed. Yeah, where's C2, Suzaku, B2, Shin, Layla, Glinda Knights, Dash, Alto, plus what can Nelly do in this game? Right? That would be funny. Force fan service on Colin's costume. No Zaku, but he has the second main character. Yeah. It was a little of force fan service. I don't mind it. Like I get it, but it's just like she does open her thing up. I know it's really real bad nitpick here, but she wouldn't do that if she was about to go into a nightmare frame. They specifically don't do that, and that outfit's actually really skin tight anyways. Um, Now with these characters, I guess you don't have it. Let's see. Yeah, even her outfit's not like, I don't know. It's what it is, I guess. No resurrection yet. Still waiting on that. That might be like a patch in the future. And then it's kind of odd how here they don't have. You think they'd have like more knights around than this one, or the other characters in this story. I can't think of my head, but there's a oh, the Glinda Knights, right? And the Glinda Knights could have been here. Ryan said that. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Nina will be in the game. Show Firefly Warheads. Okay. I think we're done with Suzaku, at least for now. His ability, the effectiveness of the Geass power is a little, it's debatable. Anyhow, let's move on to the next one. Ineffective, Shirley's death. Not long after Shirley's memories return, she seeks out Lelouch. However, Rolo sees Shirley with a gun and kills her before she can get to Lelouch. Lelouch is Geass on a dying Shirley with the command to live, but given her fatal wound, she continues to bleed out. He repeatedly uses the Geass, ordering Shirley not to die, but it's ultimately futile. This is one of the few moments in the series the Geass power is so utterly ineffective, and it revealed that while Lelouch has the power of the king, he's still not a god. Well, Shirley's one of the only characters in Code Geass. I think she's the only character to be given a command that like it just didn't work. See, other characters were able to do something. Like even with Clovis and Cornelia, they were able to answer certain questions, but with Shirley, it like literally didn't do anything. This isn't actually accurate. It was ineffective. Geass was used on her, and it didn't do anything. As opposed to the point up here, which Gladiator King pointed out, and he's absolutely right, that nothing actually happened. So you can't say it's ineffective. Just nothing happened. So yeah, this was definitely one of the sadder moments of the series. Although what's ironic is that if they knew about this situation, the person who wrote this, then why didn't they write this last sentence? Fill again with despair. Like that's not what happened. Really stupid stuff, man. Yeesh. But yeah, it's one of the few moments Code Geass that's so utterly ineffective. It realized that while Lucius, yeah, true. He did feel very powerless. It also led to like the Geass massacre, which was just awful. One of the worst things Lucius ever did in the series. I wonder if maybe in the future I'll talk about like things Lucius did that were kind of awful. Anyhow, next one, effective. Euphemia's betrayal. Okay. When Lelouch believes he found a peaceful way to end the Japanese subjugation alongside Euphemia's help, his Geass spoils everything, while explaining the power he inadvertently commands Euphemia to murder the Japanese people. I added people there. Although Euphemia is able to resist the Geass command momentarily, she is eventually overwhelmed and orders the massacre of the Japanese people. Captured by the global media, this event becomes a rally cry. A rallying cry for the plight of the Japanese at the hands of the Britannia. While it wasn't Lelouch's intent, it's an incredible feat that showed the power of Geass to compel even its host. The power of Geass to compel even its host. What does that mean? Isn't Lelouch the host? Is it saying that like it to compel even its host? I guess he lost command of it. I know what they're saying, but a better way to word would have been like, this was not Lelouch's intent. It was a feat that showed what happens when you lose control of your Geass power, or when it happens when you didn't intend it to, or something. It's very strange wording. I'll say that much. Okay, so effective here. So they're using effective here is kind of like Suzaku's, but a little different in that it worked. That's why it was effective. The weird part about this article, as I think about this more, It says the most effective, and now I don't think it had anything to do with like the Geass power itself, because the way it works is it either makes the person do something or they don't do it. So it's always going to be the same effectiveness. Should be the effectiveness should be the same regardless of who the person is or what the command is, if it actually works. So the real effectiveness I find would be then in the storyline, was it effective to whatever goal they were trying to accomplish? With Euphemia, no. Lelouch didn't want this to happen at all. So yeah, effective that it worked on her, true, but plot wise, no. Lelouch didn't want this to happen. Now, granted, it did move the story along to the next point, but that wasn't intentional. I don't know if I'd call this effective. Effective in the sense that, like, the plot wise, no, I would call this ineffective. Especially considering the fact that Lelouch didn't want this and it went against him. If anything, this whole power or this whole situation was a result of Lelouch's weaknesses and not being able to control the Geass power, and it was never his intention to do it. So from a planning perspective, definitely not. And what's funny too, wasn't there a CBR point? I know it's a different site, but same company. Didn't they say like one of the strategy was to make Euphemia do this, and it was never a strategy for him to do it? So I don't know about this one. I think you give a better argument for this being effective. This one, it's like, sure, I guess so, because you didn't stop killing people, but from plot point of view, not really. Number 4, ineffective. Jeremiah's return. Okay. After Jeremiah learned the truth of Geass, he has a grudge to settle with Lelouch. Enabled with a new mechanical body and as Geass Chancellor, Jeremiah tracks down Lelouch and defeats every Geass used on you? Every Geass used on you? That's not what happened, but okay. Lelouch sent armed guard under Geass to kill Jeremiah. And after this, Rollo and Psycho attempt... and after this fails, Rollo and Psycho attempts are also what? Okay, one more time. Lelouch sends armed guards under Geass to kill Jeremiah, and after this fails, Rollo and Psycho's attempt and are also defeated by Jeremiah. Wow, that hurt. Ultimately, Jeremiah decided to serve Lelouch upon the realization that Lelouch is the daughter of... Lelouch is the daughter of... What? Lelouch is the daughter... Oh my god. What? That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I get if you want to do a spelling mistake here and there. This is like, wow. Just, you know what? There's a lot of cross gender stuff with Lelouch, like fan art wise. I had no idea that this person internalized it. And this is so sad because I said at the beginning of this video or the stream that this article is pretty tame and, mostly good. There's not much problems that I had with it. But wow. I'll say as much, okay? Of all the narrative mistakes I've ever made, this has to be up there as one of the worst I've ever seen. This is a basic mistake. This has to be a troll job. There's no way somebody who was actually writing this, and being paid, by the way, because people are paid to write these articles, actually wrote daughter. There is no way someone did that accidentally. There's just no way. There's no way. I'm losing my mind. There's no way. No way. All right. Okay, I'll get it back together. But oh man, what in God's name? Okay. By the way, there's a lot to break. Now that we're done with that narrative blunder, quite possibly one of the worst I've ever read. There's a bunch of stuff here that's just horrible. Okay. It says here that he tracks down Lelouch and defeats every Geass used on him. The only person who used Geass on Jeremiah was Rollo, and that was once. Lelouch never used Geass on him. He did, however, send guards after him, which they do point out. Now, from a narrative point of view, this is kind of wrong because I believe that Jeremiah first fights the guards, that's true. Then he stops Rollo and Sayako, and then he fights two more guards that Lelouch used the Geass command on. So it wasn't like guards, then Rollo Sayako, and then he encountered Lelouch. It was guards, man, really gassy. Rollo Sayako, and then more guards. That's actually what happened. So there's that. Sayako attempts to defeated, right? That sentence was painful. And he starts to lose because he's the daughter. Wow. Just wow. Okay. So was it ineffective against Jeremiah? No, it didn't do anything against him. Although, you know what? No. We'll give it to them, even though they don't deserve it. We'll say it was ineffective because, you know what? That's not even true. It was effective. Again, the Chancellor doesn't take anything away from the effect of the Geass itself. That's why here this is wrong. Because the only reason why it didn't work on Shirley was because of the Geass Chancellor. And when Raul used the Geass on Jeremiah, he did stop moving. The Geass Chancellor is what got him out of it. But the Geass power itself was effective on him. So this is wrong at every point because it was effective. His Geass Chancellor prevented it from affecting him for a long period of time, but it actually was effective. So this is crap. And more importantly, Jeremiah's return, sure, whatever. Such nonsense. All right, finally, we get one that actually works. Well, there's been two so far, but this is the... Were there two? We'll go through it again. Okay, number 3. Effective. Schneidel's loyalty. After Lelouch emerged from his fake death, he used his Geass on the royal guards at the Pendragon, forcing them to become his slaves and embrace him as majesty. At the Pendragon, guys. I'll see you at the Pendragon. Pendragon is not a club. It's the capital of Britannia. He means like the... They mean like the not... Well, Pendragon's a city, but they meant the actual royal palace. I'll see you at the Pendragon, guys. Oh my god. This allows Lelouch to assume control of the capital city of the Holy Empire, Holy Britannian Empire. However, Schneider controls the Democles, the flying warship, and the Flea warheads, giving him an unparalleled advantage. Once Lelouch traps Schneider and compels him to obey Zero, Lelouch gains every military advantage to become the Emperor of the world. You know what? I would have brought Resurrection because in that film, Schneisel is still leading Zero. And what's so stupid about this point, it's like, you guys got it, but you messed it up. And what I mean by that is, the whole point about Lelouch... One second, I gotta drink some water here. The whole point of Lelouch using his Geass on Schneisel wasn't just to gain the Flea warheads. It was so that after he dies, Schneisel will continue to serve Zero. So in the new world, Schneisel will actually do good for the world as a leader. That was the purpose. That's why he said serve Zero, not Lelouch. Because Zero can be anybody in the costume. Lelouch was just having to be one person in the costume. That was a critical point in the Zero Requiem, and it carried over to Lelouch of the Resurrection. And the fact that they don't mention that here is really asinine. Asinine. This whole article is asinine. especially Lady Lelouch. Lady Lelouch. You know what? That's why he was called L2. We got the mystery's been solved. He was called L2 because of Lady Lelouch. That's it, guys. I figured it out. Screen Rant has opened my mind. That's what it is. Lady Lelouch. Who knew? You know that one? There was a one. There was a picture drama where they all cross dressed. It was the cross dressing school festival, and Luce was a girl. So you know what? That's what he was. The daughter of Lady Marion. Oh my God! All right, let me read some comments real quick. Then we'll move on. Let's see. No Charles or Schneisel. Yep, not yet. Wait, no Charles. No Schneisel. I keep looking back and I have like no memory. Yeah, you're right. They're not there. Okay. I mentioned the Nina one. Most people hate Nina, so leaving her out makes sense. I don't hate her though. Oh, dude, don't go on Reddit. There was a post that that someone mentioned about why people hate Nina. Man, it got really crazy in there. Uh, Lucius Geass couldn't stop someone from dying. That's why it failed to work on Shirley. Well, yeah, that's why. I mean, also the command. I think right, but right doesn't work with dying. That's the best. I was gonna say something else, but that's basically it. My version was gonna be like a more of a long way route than the same thing. Lucius Geass couldn't stop. Right, so right. Last mile UP moment effective. Uh, yeah, exactly. I don't think it was. Effective is a very subjective term, and they've contradicted themselves several times in the article. Do you read Code Geass fan fiction? I have approximately 200 loose X fanfics. Wow, that is a lot. Yeah, I have not actually. I heard there's some pretty good ones though. I saw on a Facebook post. I saved it because I was curious. There's like a pretty popular fanfic that was made a couple years ago. Don't ask me the name. I don't know, but I'm just saying I heard about it. If Jeremiah worked for Larry Marion, how did he not know Luke was Marion's son in the first place? No, he did. He just didn't know that that was the same person. Remember, there's a scene. It's a good question, by the way. There is a scene in R2 where Anna, that's not her name. Talking about Anya. Jeez, Anya. Anna. I'll say a monster. Anya shows Lelouch a picture of him as a kid when he was a part of the royal family, and Lelouch denies the photo, and they kind of go along with it, which means that some people assumed that they could be the same person, but ultimately they were ruled not the same. So that's how they kind of got around that. Because Lelouch was a kid. Remember, he was sent to Japan when he was a child, so that's the only time Jeremiah saw him. It is very possible he might have never saw him again after that point, so that's why he didn't recognize him. He wasn't sure, in all fairness. Although I don't know why V2 didn't tell him, but that's a whole nother topic. That's why I think Jeremiah didn't. Daughter, yep. Lelouch is the daughter. Yeah, at least Cornelia immediately recognized the guy. Lelouch looks really similar to his child self, and Jeremiah even knows he has the same name, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where I guess he didn't recognize him. Cornelia did. Maybe she spent more time with him. So did Euphemia. Maybe that's the reason why. It's a good point, though. I'm leaving now. Pretty much. CBR reads Fem Loose Fix. Yeah, indeed. I'm gonna forget that, but that is too stupid. I agreed. I don't know how you make a mistake like that. I mean, there are spelling mistakes, there are small narrative change mistakes, but that was the worst. My goodness. But Jeremiah's Geass cancer was super effective, absolutely. But it's about Geass commands, not outside interference. That's like saying that Euphemia's. You know what? By that logic, you could say the following argument: the Geass command Euphy was not effective because Lelouch shot her and she couldn't finish the command. Therefore, it wasn't effective because She was killing people, but she had to stop in the middle. So therefore, it wasn't effective. Lelouch used a gun. Gun, canceller, it's all the same, right? No difference. My favorite video of Watch Moto's top 10 smartest anime heroes, Death Note versus Geass, and top anime on the planet. We could respond to all of them at some point. Lelouch was also disguised as a belly dancer. That's right. That was one of the picture dramas in R2. I can't remember the name of it, but that's true. Again, I think L2 is Lady Lelouch. It wasn't Lelouch Lamprey that became L2. It was Lady Lelouch, the former Empress. You know what? We might make a meme with that in the future. Lady Lelouch, the former Empress. That's Lelouch's true. Yeah, he had a twin sister apparently, and her name, that's who. Or maybe he always was a woman. Who the hell knows? I heard that Jeremiah's passed. Jeez, keep coughing here. More water. I heard that Jeremiah's past Marion was made up later on. Originally, he was meant to be a bad guy. The world would be gotten rid of early on, but he was so popular he got a new plot line. I think you're talking about so there's some discussion about how R2 was called R2 because they actually had a different plan originally, and they had a divert to this new storyline. That could be it. There is a picture drama of R1 where Jeremiah talks about how he failed to protect Marianne before she died. This was pretty early on, by the way. So his guilt about her was always something that the fans were aware of. But it could be the case, although he didn't actually die. I don't know about that, because the very end of the episode he was supposedly supposed to die, he was picked up by Bartley's men. So I've never heard that theory, but it could be true. I've never heard it before, though. Lelouch's twin sister, Lucina. Exactly. 100% canon. We're gonna figure out a way to make the meme act. That's pretty funny. Okay. Okay, number 2. Ineffective, Lelouch's memories. After entering the Island of the Gods, Lelouch realized that his parents, Charles Z. Britannia and Lady Marion, have survived and are leading Britannia from behind the scenes. This signifies when Lelouch's parents become mortal enemies to his ambition to destroy the Empire. Defeated and bound, Charles used Geass to rewrite Lelouch's memories, making him forget everything about the Geass and his life as Zero. This ploy is temporarily effective as Zero disappears from reality. The Black Knights fall apart, and Lelouch becomes the average high school student everyone thought him to be. But Charles' victory is short-lived because C2 finds Lelouch and restores his memories, and which makes Zero more vigilant than ever. What the fudge did I just read? Okay. After entering the Island of the Gods, Lelouch realized that his parents... No! Oh! What? He entered C's world to find out about this stuff. But that was an R2. And that was like turn... What, 2020, 21? I forget which one. One of those. I think it was 20. But that was... Yeah, it was 20 because, between 20 and 21. I think 20 he actually gets there. 21 has the whole Ragnarok connection. No, I'm messing up here. I think it was 20. It doesn't matter, okay? The point is, R1 is when all this stuff happened, where he was bounded by Suzaku and charges Geass on him. That first paragraph had nothing to do with anything. What was the point of that? Oh, God. No. When he went to the island, Suzaku pinned him down, then brought him to Charles. But even worse, it says that it didn't work because C2 restored his memories. We have a third instance now where Geass wasn't effective, not because the command didn't work, but because someone undid it. Or Man, I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's not ineffective. Ineffective would be command was used and attacked the person, or it worked on the person, but didn't really do it to the extent we were hoping. Like, Lelouch using his Geass on Shirley when she was dying is, I think, the only example here that was truly ineffective. Meaning, like, it went to the person and it just didn't do anything. So roll is, yeah, that was the only time. The rest of these are bullcrap. This is, oh my god. That first paragraph, what in God's name was that? I don't know the comments. Uh, just wow. Just wow. Okay, and let's go to the last one, last point here. Um, Effective. Lelouch versus Charles and Marion. One of the most powerful moments in the series is when Lelouch kills his parents. After years of seeking revenge against the unknown murderers of his mother and clarity for his father's absence, I don't think he cared about that. What absence? The only absence in the show was 15, turned 15. Maybe why his father didn't care about him. Absence implies like he was gone, I guess, from his life. I have to fill in the blanks because otherwise I don't get it. He becomes the individual to erase them from existence. Well, technically Marion was already dead anyways, but sure. At this moment, Charles is one of the strongest and most prolific Geass users. No, actually, his Geass power was gone at this point. He had a code. But sure, whatever you guys say. Lelouch must evolve his Geass to the next level where the power emerges in both eyes and use the collective unconsciousness, the collective unconsciousness mind of humanity. I thought it was consciousness, not unconsciousness. If it was unconsciousness, wouldn't like everyone be dead? I mean, I think that's wrong. Anyways, mind humanity within the Ragnarok connection to defeat him. It's also the moment where Lelouch and Saku made their pact to create a new Britannian emperor and achieve their childhood ambition. That last sentence is not relevant here. Because are we talking about plot effectiveness? Are we talking about the Geass effectiveness? Because they haven't defined it once. They keep going back and forth. This article was starting off pretty decent. Now it's god awful. Really god awful. But just read it. I'm just like, Lelouch. And was it even a Geass command to make the? I mean, did he say I command you to? I thought he asked. You know what? Here, let's look it up. Give me a second here. Code Geass transcripts. You actually can look this up. I don't remember being a direct command. Maybe it was. I think this is it. Yeah, here it is. Let's take a look real quick. Let's see. Okay, it was 21. I was like right and wrong. Let's see. Let's look at Lelouchia to find what she said. I mean, what he's no, I know what I said. He said, come on. You're a fool. I don't intend to defeat God. Collective consciousness, please don't stop the march of time. So I don't think that was a command like collective consciousness, stop the march of time. You know, I don't think it was a command. It was more like a request. And I think the collective consciousness chose him over. Since we don't know what actually happened in that scene definitively, you can't say definitively it was used on the collective consciousness. I'm sorry, unconsciousness. It was sleeping at the time again. The collective consciousness was sleeping at the time, so it was the collective unconsciousness. Oh boy. I think this article is making me unconscious. But anyways, like I don't yeah, I don't know, man. This is like weird. This is okay. I'm gonna go over more comments, and I'm gonna give you what I think were better options that could have been chosen here. Okay, would 2 be ineffective if they used Jules Kingsley? Lelouch kind of broke free. Oh, I missed one point. There are 4 times Lucius got his memories tampered. Against Mao to forget, Charles to make him Julius, then he Geassed him again to have a little brother and his empty state in resurrection. Very true. When to be ineffective, they used Julius Kingsley. Lucius kind of broke free. Yeah, that'd be an example for sure, because at least it didn't work. Like, it was affecting him, but the effect was almost nothing. He did break free. Uh, exactly. What was the point making him Julius? All Charles said was so he can defeat the EU. Problem. I agree, because the problem with the whole situation with him making him Julius is that Charles only wanted him alive to bring out C2. If he had gone to the EU, he could have died there. He was no. I mean, he was in a war zone. I mean, for God's sake, Xing almost killed him. I'm sorry, Shin, not Xing. Shin Hugo almost killed Lelouch. If Shin had killed Lelouch in the EU, they never would have got C2 back. So, no matter how you slice it, what Charles did with Lelouch made no sense. It was really stupid. They had to find a way. You know the real reason. They had to find a way to get Lelouch into Akito the Exile, because they, for God forbid, you make a Code Geass series, manga, whatever, that doesn't have Lelouch in it. God forbid. So that's why they did it. But yeah, it made no sense. That was a mini rant. But yeah, seriously, God forbid. Okay. All right, but there. All right. So now let's talk about, for really briefly here, let's talk about actual most effective uses of the Geass. Right. Let's go through a couple that were actually really effective. First of all, anytime Mao uses Geass power was always super effective, especially against Shirley. They don't mention this here, but when he uses power on Shirley, that was, yeah. He caused like everything to happen. You want to talk about a Geass power, not only plot effective and actually effective, you have Mao's Geass ability. That was definitely one they don't mention here. I don't know why. That was one of the most effective in the series. What's some other ones that we can definitely reference? The one where Lelouch tells that Major, I forgot his name, one of the jail members to kill himself. That was pretty effective, you know, because he was going to die and he saved himself by using it. So that was a pretty good one. The first time was pretty effective because those guys were going to kill him again, self-defense. Just saying, that was pretty good. When he uses Geass power on Cornelia, that was a good example of it, very effective, because that indicated to him who it could possibly be, and what he thought it was her, which was kind of weird, but you know, whatever. I'm not sure why Lucius would think Cornelia would have killed Marion. I guess he didn't know any better. But anyways, other time used the Geass ability that was effective. Oh, here's the best one. They didn't mention it. He commanded 1,000 people at one time to be his slaves. If you know what I'm talking about, there's a scene where let's see if I can find it. In one of my articles, let's see. Give me a second. There's I made a fact list for Lelouch. One day it'll be a video. Right now I just where is it? Yeah, here we go. So one of the facts about Lelouch, just scroll down here, it's a load. Okay. So one of the facts is where is it? It's like, yeah. So I counted this number of people here, and this is over 1,000. I think you can see this. In this one scene here, he commanded 1,000 people to obey him. And as far as I know, that's the most amount of people he's ever commanded at one time. That was probably one of the most effective use of Geass, because he exploited the heck out of it to get as many people as possible affected. So I would have put that one on there. Anyways, that was one of the most effective uses of Lucius Geass. Other examples I'm going to think of where he was pretty. Oh, how about anytime he told those people to collapse the stage in the Tokyo settlement, both in turn 4, I think, and also stage 24 and 25. Those were 23 and 24. No, I'm going back and forth. I think it was 24 and 25. No, it was 23 and 24. I got it. That was pretty effective, right? That killed lots of people and it nearly won the war. I don't know, just saying it was pretty effective. It did some things. You could argue that his Geass of power on Clovis was very ineffective because he got nothing out of him. He just said that Schneisel and Cornelia might know, or they should know. Which they didn't, by the way. So Clovis was an idiot. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, it was 2024. I know. All this crap, like not crap, like all this information, like it's caught in my head. Let's see. Where's the comments? I gotta take a quick break after this. But it's here. Okay. Exactly. Why didn't Shin kill Lush? All just to use him as bait out the Emperor while the same blowing up. Yeah, that was confusing. Why he didn't kill him. He also told everyone who he was. I don't know what happened to those people. It was one of those like plot holes in Akito the Exiled. There's like a bunch of them. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't kill him. I don't think it would have mattered. He was going to blow up Pendragon. Blowing up Pendragon, regardless of the Emperor being there or not being there, I don't know. It was weird. Shin was kind of crazy, let's be honest. But I don't know why he didn't kill Luch. It was one of my questions at the end of my video. Like, why didn't he kill him? Especially when he told everyone he did. It was kind of weird. Like, I killed him, but he didn't kill him. It's a good point. It's a very good point. Layla Geass seemed to be effective, whatever it was. Yeah, it was. It was able to connect whatever it did, because it's never been confirmed, of course. Don't tell us anything, God forbid. But the ability was to, I believe, to connect the consciousness of others, but also travel in time. Or maybe that was the collective consciousness. Oh, no, I'm sorry, unconscious, because she was sleeping at the time. She was able to, I think, to connect or bring Layla in the past, and then her actual Geass power was to connect people's minds together. I think that's what happened. It's not very clear. Still much info, right? We don't know. 2024. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and with that, we'll go through this, and we got another article as well. So, 2 seconds here. I just gotta. Drinking water has consequences, unfortunately. Should be back now. Um, by the way, guys, just like a side note, if you haven't voted yet, I know I've said it earlier at the beginning of the stream, but just to reiterate, please vote on this. I want to know if you guys want more free-form discussion videos, or if you guys are in favor of just standard video essays. It looks like most people want freeform stuff. So just vote. I know only 18 people did. Usually I get like 100 or so. So just let me know, guys. Anyhow, a couple other things I just thought about when I was in the bathroom. You know that you want to know an ineffective use of Geass according to their definition, which was wrong. Lelouch tried to use Geass on C2 in stage, what was it, 15, because she didn't want him to. He didn't want her to go and see Mao at Clovis Land. So that was ineffective apparently because Geass doesn't work on C2. So it was ineffective. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier, but that was pretty stupid. I think it was. Shin's Geass was very effective. It made everyone want to die. So the best Geass power ever for a nihilist, which is what Shin was. So that was a pretty effective use of Geass. Let's see. Lelouch made all those guys, those police officers, shoot Mao. That was pretty effective. Although they didn't kill him, so I guess it wasn't. That's even how this works. C2's power was also very effective. Made everyone love her. It was pretty, might have been too effective, if you will. Charles rewrote the memories of everyone who, in the student council. That was pretty effective. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, all the assassinations are all did. He killed lots of people early on. They show like flashbacks. That was pretty effective. Ineffective stuff, so we're back to that. Let's see, what was ineffective? Did Lelouch ever command someone and it just didn't matter if he commanded them or not? I'm trying to think of a time where if that ever occurred. I'm not sure. I'll get back to that in a second. Oh, other times where the command was effective. Telling Guilford to pretend he was Cornelia, telling Dalton to kill or to not kill, but destroy the nightmare frame that Cornelia was in, or damage it enough that she's has to get out of it. Although he almost killed her, if we're being honest there. He told Dalton's son David to shoot at Rollo so he could defend him. So there's a couple of examples there of Geass usage. Yeah, definition-wise, unless the Geass power was specifically unable to work on somebody, or it was later negated by either C2, a bullet, or a canceller, in their mind, it wasn't effective, which just doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. Yeah, I don't know, this is a really strange article. Like, the person who wrote it, like, didn't watch the show. This seems like Wikipedia to no end. A couple more comments, and we'll move on to the next article. Hopefully you guys will stay around for, and that's going to be about Death Note. So again, hope you guys stay around for that. But let's take a look here. Doesn't Suzaku have superior rank than Shin? So why would he surrender? I don't know why Suzaku surrendered. That is the million-dollar question. Why did Suzaku surrender to Shin Hyuga? He clearly defeated his, what's it called? He defeated Jean-Ro, and he had her, like, he could have killed her. If anything, Shin should have backed down from shooting Lelouch. I have no idea how they went from that battle sequence to Lelouch and Suzaku are in jail together. I don't know what the order events were because Suzaku had the clearly upper hand. As you mentioned, he had the rank too, but that was so strange. Like, he could have killed Jean-Ro, and he would have. Suzaku was pretty, he killed lots of people in that conflict. You know, he wasn't fooling around. I have no idea. None whatsoever. Next question. I hope Z of their capture, not a question, but a statement. I hope her capture of Z won't go too crazy with the Geass powers. I feel like making Geass powers more complicated makes the story worse. Yeah, I mean, I can see that because definitely Layla's was a good example of where it was too far. I have noticed that in the manga, I've only read Renya in full. I've read parts of Oz Reflection, the parts that are in English. And by the way, if they ever want to do the 10-year plan, can they please just animate the show, the manga? please. Anyways, in those series, the Geass powers were pretty basic. Like Lorenzo's from Renya, it just simply made you it put illusions into your mind, but it also brought like your inner desires to it. It was like a two punch there, but it was pretty simple. And some like Alderin's, I believe it makes you think he's someone else. So again, it's pretty basic, but Layla's was OP. That was an example where it went too far. If you keep the Geass powers simple, you can have a bunch of them. Just don't go crazy. And even with Shamla's Geass power, that was a little complicated because I think it originally she could like go back in time and then or I don't think she went back in time originally. I think it had a different effect, and then it evolved to like going back in time every was it I think it was some 20 hours or something. And it wasn't 20 hours. I can't really tell you the amount of time, but she died. It went back a certain amount of time every time she died or something like that. So as long as you here's the thing, as long as you explain it in clear detail, it can be complicated. It can be simple. The problem with like an Akito the Exile and to an extent Lucia the Resurrection is that they didn't explain it clearly enough how the power worked. That's where I get angry. It's not a matter of like if it could do 10 different things like a Swiss Army knife. Did you explain how it works? That's all I ask. And for some reason, they never, you can't get an explanation to save your life. But it's a good point though. Off topic, but the Lancelot and the Gurren manga is fully translated on Manga Dex if anyone wants to check out. Oh, it's finished? Okay. I'll check it out. Actually, since you brought that up, in my article on the what was it, the Kogias manga order, there's actually an error with it. Apparently the Gurren and Lancelot and the Lucia Rebellion RE are part of the alternative manga universe. I know this is really complicated, but there's the original anime timeline, then there's the alternative timeline that's anime, then you have the original manga timeline, and then you have an alternative manga timeline, which is not of the original series, but its own timeline. Did that make sense, or do I have to explain that again? Basically, you have the four imaginary stories of Lucia of the Rebellion. Then you have another version of it, which is the same as the original, follows the same events, except no nightmare frames and a bunch of plot changes. Then they actually made a manga series that was based on the original anime and didn't make any of the changes. But those manga, which is now Gurren and Lancelot, Rebellion RE, and Resurrection, are all part of the alternative universe. It's really confusing, but that's what they decided to do. So you have imaginary stories, the original timeline with changes, significant changes, and then you have an alternative version of that timeline, which is also an alternative universe of the original timeline. Yeah, it's confusing. You need a chart to understand this stuff. We're getting to fate levels of confusing. But yeah, that's what I figured out because one of my subscribers pointed out, I forgot the person's name, but that the end of RE showed Lelouch being alive, so it can't be the ending of. It can't follow the same as the original anime because when Lelouch was stabbed by Zaku, you don't see him floating in some kind of I think it was some kind of shape watching the world. He was just dead. So that's that's kind of confusing. Anyways, no one asked for that, but there you go. Okay. Let's keep going. To be did that desperation. So to be fair, idiot. To be fair, he did desperation. What we talk about? Not even sure. Okay. Oh, you mean the Geass command to? Yeah, it was probably desperation, right? It wasn't like a Geass command like other people's, so or other ones done in the past. That's what you're saying. That's true. I wish the Alexanders fought the Lancelot. That would have been cool. There was a poster hinting that, but it didn't happen. I wonder your opinion who would win if they fought and the OVA without the Lynn command. So this is the Lancelot with no enhancements, so it's not the Conquista or the Flight enabled. It's just base Lancelot versus Alexander. I'm going to assume that Akito doesn't have Berserk mode engaged. If he had Berserk, this would be a good fight. Who would win? Suzaku with Live versus Akito with Die Berserk mode. You know, the brain, what'd she call it? Brainwave? No, brain jack? Oh, man. I forgot the term she called it. 1 second. Akito, the exiled, Shin Hyuga. I can't remember the name of it. It was called a brain something. His Geass power, it caused a brain. Come on, load. I'm gonna pay for this. Oh, I just had him. Okay. Okay, but what's the actual power called? Overcome the Geass. It's unique. Okay, I can't find the name of it, but it was called Brain something, and it basically it caused Akito to go berserk. So that'd be kind of cool. Berserk Akito and his new Alexander, the one he used to fight against Shin at the end, it was a special version, versus base Lancelot with Suzaku has a live command. That'd be a pretty good fight. Akito was merciless in battle. I'd probably give it to Suzaku. I think he's a prodigy when it comes to piloting wireframes, but it wouldn't be a definitive fight. I think he would give him a good battle. Although I don't know how strong the Alexanders are in comparison to Lancelot's, because even though I think they're the same generation, that doesn't mean anything in terms of like who'd actually win a battle. It'd be good though. I would love to see Suzaku like trying to live and Akito saying die. That would have been good. Pity we never saw that. That's a good question. Does Akito have his die command? Yes, I'm saying he would. Akito, Whipper found his die command with regular Xander and then Liberty, then Suzaku, regular Lancelot, the old Vega fought close to the end of R1, but with Live without Live command. Yeah. That'd be good. I love to see exactly what the die or not the die. Exactly. That's the question. Isn't it funny that Mao did die from probably over 15 shots, but Yufumi died from 1 despite the advanced retaining medicine? Well, if Mao wasn't shot in a vital organ and Yuffie was, plus Yuffie was bleeding out so badly by the time they got her to the Avalanche, she was long gone anyways. They couldn't do anything for her. I could, if you guys want, I could discuss in a new free-form video why, in my opinion, Mao's situation wasn't contrived. It did make sense why he lived and why Yuffie died. If you guys are interested, I'll post it. Assuming this poll gets a little more votes. I'll put that out there and see if you're interested, because it's a pretty short topic, but I think people might want to know exactly what happened, because I have a whole theories about why it wasn't entirely contrived and why it makes sense, but it wasn't explained well enough. You have to put the pieces together. That's Code Geass for you in a nutshell. You got to put everything together. And Death Note's the opposite. It tells you everything, so you don't have to think. So one show does all the thinking for you, and one expects you to do too much thinking. Sometimes the middle ground is nice too. Anyways, I guess Saku couldn't risk Lelouch being killed. That's probably what happened. That's a true point. Maybe Saku took it out. It's possible. He had the Lancelot, so he jumped up and he killed Shin. Yeah, he could have. Akito still has his die command. That's true. Wait, even in the Akito exiled, he still has his die command? Maybe. Okay. It also will have to require more complicated writing, or else it won't make sense. Pretty much. Is the Lancelot named after Sir Lancelot? Probably. I don't know the answer to that question, but I assume. I also really hope that they won't do anything like Sorbakasha again. Well, if they will, they better explain it. But I hope so. They won't. I hope they don't. I'm going to assume that Zeta Recapture is going to be a simple spin-off story. I don't expect anything more complicated than Akito the Exile, and hopefully nothing on the level of Reign of Darkness. Please, God, no. Not a bad story, but man, the Ray of Darkness gets so confusing towards the end. What a complicated mess. Akito would win, in my opinion, assuming Lancelot was the one bar one. Sure. I mean, I can see that. Um, it'd be a really tricky fight. It just really depends on how, if Suzaku using the live command from like the moment they get into it. Would Suzaku underestimate Akito? Would Akito be in berserk mode instantly? I mean, Akito, yeah, it'd be pretty close. I still think the Lancelot has it just because Suzaku in general is a better Nightmare Frame pilot, and in Akito to Exile, he was shown to use more than just like the swords. He actually used his arms and legs in combat. So technically speaking, he'd be able to deal with somewhat of Akito's insane maneuvers, because as you know, the Alexanders are very fast-paced Nightmare Frames, able to jump around the battlefield, switching between the beast mode and the fighter mode. I guess they're called. I'm not sure what the actual names are. That's just what I call them. Even though I think it's actually a spider, not a beast. But whatever. If Beast Wars can do it, so can I. Sue me. Okay. I really hope recapture will be like R1. Exactly. Simple and unique. But a good unique. Yes, if you guys want, okay, yeah, I'll talk about in the future. I'll do a video about Mao's situation. There's like a bunch of critiques on Mao. That whole guy, Geass, he made a whole thing about it. Oh my god, I could do like a video per each critique. It could be like just 20 minutes defending all the problems people had about Mao, just all of them, one after the other. Why it's not what people say it is. I will be defending one of them in my Lelouch versus Light intelligence video rather, because I do talk about how he deals with Mao in that video. So in that one, I will debunk one of the biggest complaints about Mao. The other would have to be like a simple video essay, or a simple like this type of video. Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. I know. One day I will debunk it. I just don't want to do it now because I want like enough people to actually watch it. I'm glad you guys are watching it, but I need like a bigger group of people to check it out, because I love, like, the whole point of doing that video would be that everyone could like debunk it together. I want like more minds on it. I probably even want to get some people on the street to help me out too, go through it, because there's a lot to say about the complaints, and there's no way I would get them all. Although I do have like a 10-page rebuttal where I went through each point and tried to give a reason why it made no sense, or why his reasoning on it made no sense. Here's a good one: Akito versus Calvin. And now we're doing like we're like almost 2 hours into this. I'm gonna change the battery soon, but we're like almost 2 hours into this. Now we're getting to like the random battles here. Colin versus Akito. I assume this is Gurren with no upgrades, because even the Gurren Flight enabled version was insanely OP. So that's probably a better fight, because I think they're more on the same level. That I think Akito would win, because the problem with Colin's Nightmare Frame is that it is made for close combat, but the problem is the arm is like its only main weapon, at least at the time of the first Maul the Gurren. Yes, she has the vibrant sword in the other hand, but if Akito just disables that arm or gets around it, because the thing about the Gurren, it's pretty fast, but the Alexander is definitely faster. So if he gets around her the arm, he can break it, and then she's probably dead. I don't see Colin defeating Akito if it's base Gurren versus base Alexander. Now, if it's the flight enable, no, Akito is dead. He can't fly. Oh god, that'd be so bad. That's just my take on that. Yeah, DX is pretty harsh on Geass. He clearly had base for a series. And what he had was, I've seen this before other people. The problem with Code Geass, and it's not the only show or thing I should say that has this issue. When something gets too popular, people there's always a counterculture, right? When something is so big, you have people who naturally have to hate it or find things wrong with it because people are saying, this is like the greatest thing ever. The best example I could think of was here. I'll show you real quick. There's a video. I'll mention, by the way, if I ever want to do DX rebuttal. But so Nostalgic Critic, I'm sure you guys know who he is. He's a long-time YouTuber. Let's see, Nostalgic Critic, and here, Channel Awesome. Look it up. So he made a video. It was called he discussed the whole Matrix trilogy. Right here. When he made the video, people were very upset about it. They said, "Why are you so nitpicky?" He nitpicked the effects, the acting, everything. It was the most critical thing I'd seen him do in a long time. And when they asked him about it, it might even be in this interview here, but he was saying that everyone said that The Matrix was like this perfect movie. It had no flaws. So he's like, "Are you sure about that? Because let me show you a bunch of flaws the film had." It was a natural response. When you hype something up to be like the greatest thing ever, there's gonna naturally be a yin-yang effect where some people are gonna counterbalance by saying, "No, it has a lot of problems," because everything does. That's what happened with Code Geass. That's why DX was so harsh, because everyone kept saying Code Geass is so good. And so he jumped on. He was like, "No, it's not. See, like, this makes no sense, and that makes no sense, and that wasn't explained, and that's stupid, and etc. etc." That's what happened with the X's video. That's my opinion. I don't think, or not. No, he definitely hates the series. He was a hatred. That video was a 45-minute rant about why he hates Code Geass. Ironically enough, he actually has notes in the first video where he discusses certain characters, or not characters, but certain episodes, and what he thought about them for real. And some of the points he made could have been explained, but he never does. So, although I will say, in this next video I'm coming out with the intelligence, I'll be debunking several of his claims, unintentionally, but I will be doing them anyways. If you guys don't know which ones they are, I might put in the timestamps or something like that. But that's basically it. Let's see. He gets really angry at times to me, and he feels like he's just villainizing. Probably, dude. I feel like Code Geass is still underrated. I don't know, because like, doesn't underrated mean like no one knows about it? I mean, everyone knows about Code Geass. I think it's a good show. It's a very good show, but underrated is like, I don't know about underrated. Not to be. I mean, if you like the show and you think it is, that's totally fine. But as far as I know, people are very much like, I would say maybe in 10 years we can call it underrated. Right now, it's still a fairly popular show. I would call Eureka 7 underrated, even though there's a film coming out, which I'm not looking forward to because those films have not been good. And Eureka 7, was it Plus or something? The one that came out after it wasn't good either. So here's another underrated anime. Razafan. Razafan is very underrated. The new Evangelion film came out, so everyone's very excited about it, but everyone forgets that Razafan was also a thing that was very similar to Evangelion, but I think did some things better. Maybe one day I'll do a video about it, but Razafan was very underrated. That was a good show. Although I like Doug Walker, his review on Sailor Moon has so many mistakes that it makes CBR's art look great. Yeah, I'm sure. Look, Doug Walker, I actually have met him a couple years ago. But, I mean, yeah, he makes videos. Oh, my God. He makes videos. There's tons of inaccuracies. But I still think in his heart, though, I don't think he actually hates the films he makes fun of. I think it's more of like a entertainment factor to it. And in some cases, he'll even admit, like, he'll try to find positives. Matrix was one of those films where he just wanted to go out there to prove the film was not perfect. And he succeeded. But we knew it wasn't perfect, okay? That's not why we, it was perfect in our mind. It wasn't actually perfect, if that makes any sense. Okay, getting on here. DX loved Akito, which was surprising. Yeah, and he actually made a, the video said, what was it? It was anime I hate, and he discussed why he liked Akito the Exile, which made no sense to me. What's even stranger is that there are a lot of people like Kogias. I saw reviews of Akito the Exile, and they didn't like it. So it was odd. Like the real fans of Kogias had issues with Akito the Exile, and here you have DX, who's like it's pretty good. So I kind of found that to be kind of odd to me, but yeah, he really liked Akio the Exile. His reasons I think were good. One of the reasons was because Shin called Suzaku on his bullcrap because he hates Suzaku. That must have been why. Let's see. Why am I just so terrible today? I wonder how it would have. I wonder how it would have. C2 lose Suzaku versus Layla Hakuto. Black Knights versus W0. Oh man, Black Knights win. Okay, I mean they have what, the Holy Swords, and at one point they had Shinkei. I think the Zangetsu and the Shenhu are stronger than all the Alexanders put together. You don't even need the Gurren Satanic elements in there. It's already over. So there's your answer. Even the Gekkas, I think the Katskis could probably kill most of the Alexanders. They can't fly, okay? And when you can't fly against Nightmare Frames that can fly, you had a serious disadvantage. When Colin fought against Suzaku, she got away with that problem because she was using the buildings. But in an open space, they're screwed. And even in like the EU situation, how far can you get without being able to fly against, again, Akatsuki, which can fire, they can fire missiles that are radiant wave surgers. So they connect to a vehicle and explodes in the same way that like Collins would, or when she grabs onto something and she uses the arm, the radiant wave surger and direct contact. And that explosion or reaction is what those missiles do. So no, I think the Holy Swords alone could kill everyone in the W0 unit. And that's just because Night Frame performance is better. I mean, Akito doesn't get a sequel. We don't see it in R2 world. If the Alexander's got like a flight version, if the Alexander's got like a flight version or something, then he might have a chance. But if they're on the ground, no. No way, my friend. No way. No way. Okay. Yuga 7 is phenomenal. Yeah, Yuga 7 is so good. I have a whole thing about that show, but yeah, some people complain that like it's kind of slow early on. I never got that. I thought it was good from episode 1 to the end. I will agree that I think like episode 20 or 30 on, it's like every episode's phenomenal, but even the early ones were good. Very original, and for a show that has like similar vibes to Evangelion and Code Geass, I think it did a good job staying on its own. It was a really good show. It's just too bad that they haven't continued it well with the films and the sequel. But it is what it is. Okay. I legit don't get why DX called Colin terrible. The most underrated anime I've ever seen was Tamiyura. I've never heard of it. There you go. It's underrated. I'll look it up though. I legit don't get why DX called Colin terrible. He called her terrible because she's there for fan service. That's the only reason why. He said because she has large boobs and exposes them all the time and her butt, therefore she's bad. That's it. Because her whole purpose, her whole existence is for fan service. That's why he calls her terrible. It's not complicated. I mean, and there is, I'm not going to lie and say like he's completely wrong, right? No, there's some truth to that. I mean, Colin's fan service scenes can sometimes take you out of the moment. However, I argued in one of my articles, and I'll argue it here, when it's a serious moment for Colin, they don't fan service the scene, for the most part. For example, when she breaks down, when her mother's in the hospital, I think she's in the hospital, you don't see her boobs. You don't see her wearing anything explicit. She's just there crying with her mother. It was a very emotional scene. When she holds her in the with her nightmare frame, very emotional scene. No fan service. When Lucia's revealed to be Zero, She's in the her outfit, which is kind of tight, but still, it's pretty, for the most part, it's pretty modest, modest compared to everything else. So when it really matters, you don't see her using fan service. The only example I could think of where they did was when she was in a bunny suit, but that was circumstances, and that wasn't that one doesn't count because in the circumstance she had to play that role to get Lucia out of the casino. But generally speaking, I can't think of many Collins scenes where it's a very serious moment for her where she's being used for sexual exploitation of her boobs or butt or whatever they want to do. That's why I took the character seriously because when the show wanted me to take her seriously, I did. So that's kind of the reason why the fan series never bothered me when it comes to Colin. Although I will admit in R2, there are too many butt shots of her. But I don't really care because Geass has that, and I've accepted it, even though I don't like fan service in that way. But didn't affect the character in my opinion. But that's why he thought that was the case. Oh my God, what is my connection doing? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What's going on here? Stream health. Is it good now? Hey, it keeps loading on me. It's such crap. Okay. I apologize. My internet sucks. What can I do about it? Nothing. And Doug's real thoughts on the first Pokemon movie, he didn't seem to know Ash's name. He simply called him the boy. Like a lot of people talk about anime that we call normies, and that probably was that. That was probably the case there. Uh, okay. Well, surely at least I somewhat understood his reasoning. Um, yeah, he was saying with Shirley that because she only focused on the Lou, she had no character, even though that is a character trait and that she has an arc that goes through Lucia's life. That's kind of the point in a nutshell. The only thing I agree with him in that context is that the problem with Shirley is that the plot didn't let her actually do anything. That's the problem with it. She had a character, and that character was to be devoted to Lelouch and follow him until the end, and be the typical like obsessive girlfriend who like is a one-sided relationship, and he doesn't really seem to feel the same way about her. The problem is they shouldn't have mind wiped her twice and made her role in the story seem not as good as it could have been. Not pointless, but the point wasn't good enough, essentially. That was his complaint was that she didn't have much going for her. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. I mean, here's how I see it, right? If Lelouch doesn't have much, if she's not that important in Lelouch's life from his point of view, why would she be important in our lives watching the story? Because it's through Lelouch's perspective. That's why she's not that relevant. Because she's not relevant in Lucia's life. So she would go back to a simple role as a student in the story. That's why they did it that way. Well, I don't know for sure. I don't know the creators, but like that's my theory. It was. I don't like that point either because Shirley had a good character in Code Geass. They just didn't do enough with her. She was wasted potential, but she wasn't wasted outright. I think that's the way I want to put it. Okay, let's see. We're back here next. Disadvantage Schneisel and Shin teaming up. I don't think it'd work out too well because Shin's kind of crazy. He would probably kill Schneisel, in all fairness. I don't think they ever would team up. But we're doing Black Knights in R1 and of course on R2. Oh, that's different. No, they still lose because there's more of them. That's the problem. Like I assume the Lelouch has the Gawain. If he has the Gawain, the Alexanders are dead. I don't see, especially when they have the Geffen Disturber nets, not nets, but like the traps. They can set traps for the Alexanders, and then the Gawain can just blast them out of the sky. Or, yeah, blast them from the sky. They have Rakshata. Rakshata is smarter than, what was her name? Give me a second here. So frustrated. What is her name? She's a scientist in Akira the Exiled. I can't remember. 1 second. I hate myself. I'm gonna be so mad when I see her name. Akira the Exiled. Sophie. Oh, darn it. Sophie. So because Sophie is not as smart as Rakshata, she won't be able to fight off the stuff they come up with. Like I could see Cecile and Lloyd counteracting the Geffen Sturber or whatever, but I don't see Sophie doing that. But at least you made it more at least you put that in perspective. That's true. Callan is more than just fan service. She's an expert pilot, a close friend of Luge, and she has several emotional moments and cool moments. And she has the whole dichotomy between being a Britannian and a Japanese, like the whole pure blood stuff. Or yeah, pure blood, not pure blood. Jeez, mixed blood. Jesus, not pure. If she was pure, God, CBR's articles always blew my mind. She had that too. That whole thing about her identity crisis. So there's a lot going on with the character. The fan service was not the greatest, but in R1 especially, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. R2, yes, there are some scenes that just, ugh. Especially, especially the scenes where she is the school festival stuff, like unnecessary. Continuing on here, let's see. I wish they did more with her mother and her dead brother. Yeah, they didn't do much. That's why R2 failed. Or one of the reasons why R2 failed. Very true. The money outfit felt more like disservice. Yeah, it did. Or the yellow dress she wore near the end of R2 after being captured and terrible. Yeah, that outfit that she was wearing at the end. At the end, the one where she's in the Britannian, like I don't know what the point of that was. It's like she's singing it, and it like who thought that was a good outfit to wear? Man, no wonder why everyone wanted to go visit her, right? Gino wanted to visit her, Bradley wanted to visit her, and of course Nelly did too. But like Colin was so popular in that jail cell. I can't imagine why that was the case. Anyways, I do wish there was a bit more to her than just being obsessed with Lelouch. Yeah, I agreed. There was, but they never did much with it. She could have been the perfect, what's her name, Louise Hallaby. That could have been Shirley. She should have been Louise Hallaby. I would have loved that if that was her character arc, where she tries to get revenge for what happened to her parents, and ultimately that could have been kind of cool. But if they took, and this is kind of a crazy theory, they should have taken Nina's like insanity and put it into Shirley and did some kind of combination where Shirley kind of loses it and fights against Lelouch to join Britannia, kind of like what Louise Hallaby did in Double O. That would have been kind of cool. Now, granted, I know people wouldn't like seeing Shirley go crazy, but that would have been kind of interesting. Or she joins Lelouch and she does other stuff on her own. Those should have been her outcomes, not what they did with her. There's a lot of potential with the character. They didn't do a great job. For sure. Callan isn't a bad character, but arc in R2 was disappointing. Agreed. Yeah, Callan was kind of sidelined R2. Yeah, like Shirley was in R1. Yep. The best part of her losing her dad was interesting. Yeah, no, she responded too. I mean, she couldn't believe Lush was Zero working with Valletta, and then of course the situation with Mao. So they did stuff with Shirley, but it was really only to affect the Lush, which was why it had some problem. I agree with that. Lelouch with the Black Knights of R1 versus Shin of the Holy. More matchups here. Lelouch with the Black Knights of R1 versus Shin with the Holy Orders of Michael. Lelouch was simply being smarter. Oh no, in that case, Shin would probably win because the Grouchus, or that's probably how you pronounce it, Grachus. Hold on, I need some water. The Grachus, those things that like John Rowe used. If he had those at his command, I don't think. Oh my balls. I don't know a live stream for like 2 weeks and I forgot how to talk. If he has the Gratius under his command, I don't think Luch can win. And some of those nightmare frames they used to break down the castle walls, those were pretty powerful. The only nightmare frames they had available at the time for the Black Knights was the Burais. They had a couple of Raikos, I assume, and then of course the Gawain and the Gurren. The reason why I think they would have a hard time against Shin is because the Versicontrox is such a powerful nightmare frame. It moves very fast. It's very powerful in terms of like the weaponry. And that thing took out what, two Alexanders on its own, three, and those were advanced Alexanders. Okay, unless they were able to use a Geffen Disturber trap on it, Shin would kill probably all of them. The Gwaine would be the only one that could probably fight it off. I don't even think the Gurren could give it a good fight, because that the verse that controls is very OP, especially on the land. The Grotches are not, or Gracious, they're not like weak either. But the Versa Controls, that's why they'd win. That Nightmare Frame is absurdly OP. Will you be streaming Jericho when it comes out? You make a really good point, and that is when it comes out. Yes, I will be. I'll be playing it all the time. I'm very excited. I was so hoping it was going to come out in August, but we got to wait till September. Now, the question is, if I can't get a translation, what the heck am I going to do if it's not subbed? I might play it anyways and just guess. I don't know. I'm hoping the translation stuff works. Again, if I have to pay for something, I will. I've waited long enough. I want to play the game now. If I think people no, I think people think of Kala as fan service character because they gave her a long shower scene early as episode 3. The shower scene in episode 3 worked in my opinion because it was relevant to the plot. However, Colin's shower scene in the island episode was pretty pointless. Yeah, I agree. The one in the third one made sense because they had to find a way to get her to not think Lelouch was Zero, or there was no Zero back then. Just the guy on the phone, on the voice recorder, the messenger. That's the communicator. I got it, third time. And because of that, they had to get her in a situation where Lelouch could corner her and get her a call from Sayako. Although in the alternative universe, she concludes based on not only just existing, that Lelouch would have no time to talk to or to work with the resistance group. So either way, but at least with that one, yeah, it made sense. Although in that scene there actually was nudity. They covered it with the stain, but in the Blu-ray version you actually see nudity. So there's that if you're curious. But yeah, that at least made sense. And early on with Colin, it wasn't heavy fan service. It only got really bad till mid R1 and then of course all of R2. Fan service can work if it makes sense. That's what people like. What's that show? Prison School, because they think the fan service makes sense. That's the thing. If you're gonna do fan service, at least make it make sense. Don't just do it for sake of doing it. Man, there are some scenes in R2 that are just okay. If we count R2, the Gekka Zangetsu, Tsunkyu, and the current Seito. Yeah, they're gonna lose, dude. They can't win. Do you think they'll announce something in September? I thought they were going to announce something in this month about like new Kogiasa. I thought August was going to have some kind of announcement for Z the Recapture. Who the heck knows? I love the people working on this. I'm glad they're doing more stuff, but I don't know what they're doing. I wish they'd been more clear about stuff. The first time I ever heard of Kogiasa was when Adult Swim was doing a top 10 best fan service, and it was a weird reduction of the series. Yeah, true. It was. Really? No data? Seriously? Okay, good. I can't remember if you said this before, but is Colin your favorite character? Colin is not my favorite character. I haven't actually revealed who is yet. I guess I'll keep that hidden until then. But no, she's not my favorite. She is definitely up there, though. Especially the older I get, the more I watch the show, I appreciate more aspects about her character. Specifically the identity stuff, and dealing with some of Lucia's situation as well in R2. So I definitely understood the character a lot more as I got older. When I was younger, I didn't really care too much about Colin. She wasn't that great. It was more like C2. I always liked C2. I think most people did. I assume Lelouch was his favorite character. No, Lelouch is not my favorite character. Spoiler alert, Lelouch is not my favorite character. We're almost 2 hours. I gotta change the battery soon. Person zero capture info will be revealed when the game releases. I'm hoping that's the case. Building suspense. I'm guessing it's either Lelouch or C2. Well, You'll have to wait. We got to reach a certain milestone before I do it. And like subscriber wise, that would probably be the best solution. Okay, I gotta change the battery, and then we'll move on to the next article, or I'll answer more questions. We'll see which comes first. Transition. Okay. Oof. Okay. Back. Okay, random observation by realizing that C2 and CO2 represent the initials. I'm guessing it's a coincidence, like how Lois Lane and Exeter. That's true. Hey, you know what's like a coincidence? You're not gonna believe this, okay? But it took me, and again, I don't know why I never put the two and two together, but I never realized that Jeremiah had orange eyes. I know, crazy. I never realized he had orange eyes. I thought the whole time, I never looked at him before, but he has orange eyes. Was that the reason why he called him Orange Boy? I have no idea. He said he made it up, but like, Jeremiah has orange eyes. I never realized that until like a couple weeks ago. uh, yeah, that was interesting. Actually, in stage 24, they had disturbers, so they shut off the Shin Nightmare when Wayne. Yeah, I'm saying they could totally do that, but you got to catch Shin Hyuga first. If you can catch him, yeah, they'll totally kill him. But if they can't catch the first Thropes, they're all screwed. That's all I'm saying. That Nightmare frame is like figuratively and literally, it's a beast on the battlefield. Okay. I didn't realize Jeremiah had orange eyes either. Yeah, it's epic fun fact. I know, it's like one of those like, wait, what? Jeremiah Gutwall. With an A in the like you never think about it, but he has orange eyes. All right, let's go through this article real quick. It shouldn't take too long. This is a really strange one. The last 2 points on this have nothing to do with like the original series. Yeah, probably. What does CBR not get right? CBR getting stuff right versus wrong is like it's just crazy. I just one last time, people, just so you don't forget, Lelouch is the daughter of Lady Maria. Okay, now we're done with the article. Let's go into L's biggest failures. This one's again we'll go through it pretty quick, but it's not entirely wrong. But there's some points in this article I read this one beforehand, and some of the stuff here is just absolutely insane. And I'll explain what I mean. So L was an incredible detective in Death Note, but he wasn't always perfect. Yeah, because no one is. L was one of the most unique characters in Death Note. He was the world's greatest detective, solving many cases for years, and taking action when he discovered that criminals all around the world are dying from a heart attack at the same time. He also had a lot of quirks, mannerisms that made a lot of fans like him. However, he also failed in many ways throughout the franchise. Now, by the way, failures and mistakes are going to be conflated in this article. That's the problem. They're going to conflate a failure versus mistake, and you'll see what I mean. There have been many adaptations of Death over the years.
with each of them changing something about L. His biggest failures are spread across the manga, anime, and live action films. Even the Netflix one, guys. Even the Netflix one. Alright, let's go through this. Okay, number 10. He sends the FBI agents to Japan. So it's a failure because they were all killed by a light. And that's why it's a failure. Even though they did almost figure out they almost figured out who he was because of the FBI agent, so it wasn't a complete failure. When L first started investigating Kira, he learned that his opponent's first victim was from Japan, so he sent 12 FBI agents there. Well, first he figured out he was in Japan, and then he sent the agents, just to be accurate. The FBI agents observed police officers and their families, with one of them, Ray Pember, watching Kira himself. After Kira found out about this, he found a way to kill Ray Pember and the other 11 agents at the same time, by the way. Feeling responsible for this, L knew this would be the most difficult case he ever been a part of, and then he finally had to reveal his identity to the members of the Japanese task force he could trust. That was something he never wanted to do. I would say this about that, what they're saying there. I guess because the case was getting serious, but again, it was a mistake, perhaps, maybe not handled correctly. A failure is like, they almost figured out Light was Kira. I mean, Naomi was very close to revealing what happened. So it wasn't a complete failure, but sure, we'll say it was a failure. If the goal was to catch Light and they didn't, I guess it was a failure. Even though, I mean, think about this, right? Ray Pember was going to say that Light was a normal kid. He was going to go back home. So they would have found nothing through investigating all the different police families. So therefore, it was probably a failure because they got nothing out of it. Not the fact that they were killed. That's the problem with this point here. They are right, but wrong. They're correct, but the reasoning is wrong. Because the agents didn't find anything out. That's why they failed. That's why it was a failure. Not the fact they were killed. They didn't learn anything new. This is not a terrible point, though. They had to reveal themselves. But CBR does all the time. They're right, but wrong at the same time. So there you go. All right. Number 9. He let Light Misa out of confinement. After finding evidence that Misa was like Kira and becoming more suspicious that Light was the original Kira, El confined the two of them for nearly 2 months. Wrong. Light surrendered himself into confinement. If Light had never surrendered himself into confinement, Misa would have been there by herself. So, no, that's not what happened. He only confined Light because he agreed to do it. He didn't actively arrest him. This guy watched the show, apparently, and he got that wrong. Anyways, during this time, Light set it up so that someone would take his place as Kira and kill criminals to make him and Misa look innocent. El refused to believe that Light and Misa were innocent, but the task force convinced him to end the confinement. Although he didn't want to, he understood he had no choice. Luckily, he was able to keep an eye on them, but things would have been better for him to keep them confined. Here's the problem with this one. It's pretty straightforward. It's not a failure because... What was the failure exactly? This is a mistake. Mistake and failure are not the same thing. It was a mistake, perhaps. But given the situation, he had no choice because they were... the mistake here... They were in confinement for 2 months. People were dying. You can't legally keep someone like this forever. And also, didn't he keep Light close to him with a handcuff? So, like, where was the mistake here? Where's the failure? This is so... A mistake, perhaps. Failure, no. That's not what a failure is. Oh, my God. That's our closest. Okay. He tested Aizawa's loyalty. When the National Police Agency Task Force did not go after Kira as officers, Aizawa, Matsuda, Moki, and Soichiro had a difficult choice to make. They could have lost their jobs or kept investigating. The choice was especially difficult for Aizawa since he needed to take care of his family. Long before this, El made sure his comrades would be taken care of financially if they were fired, but he wanted to see if Aizawa was loyal to him. Once Aizawa found out that El was testing him, he left the task force without any faith in the world's greatest detective. Where's the failure here? Because if I'm not mistaken, Aizawa helped them capture the third Kira when he worked with the other guy, by his name, to make a police blockade to stop the car. So there was no failure here, absolutely no failure, because they worked together to stop the third Kira. He tested him, sure, and he left, but that's fine. That L would have rather had it that way anyway. So I don't see how this was a failure. Again, maybe a mistake, but not a failure. But you got to state like why this was a bad. If you're going to say any general thought here, okay, if you're going to state something, regardless of what it is, one, state what happened, state why is it you say it is, and then give some evidence or something. And all they do here is say that because he tested him, he left. And was the investigation hampered? No. Did he cut ties completely? No. So where was the failure here? It was a mistake, obviously, but it wasn't a failure, if you want to go that far. He should have paid more attention to Yatsuba. Again, this is first of all, he was depressed during this time anyway, so to say like he should have paid more attention is a little strange to me. Basically, he wasn't aware of what was going on. He was depressed because whole theory about Light being Kira was incorrect, and because of that, he didn't want to do anything. So he didn't pay attention to Yatsuba until Light brought it up. But that's not really because he was a failure. It was because he was depressed. That's so strange to me. Because L was absolutely certain that Light and Misa were Kira saying Kira, he didn't investigate the other suspects as thoroughly as he should have. You even more looking for Kira's connection to Yatsuba, a company that was benefiting from Kira's murders. In fact, he and Light both didn't realize that the killings that helped Yatsuba took place over the weekend until Sojiro pointed out. I'm not sure that's true, but Light's the one who brought his attention. And if you look at the timetable between the episodes, it came up like, what was it? The next episode, they brought it up because the end of one, they showed you the Yatsuba members like being in a conference room. And the next episode, Light brought it up. It was pretty quick. It wasn't like weeks went by or episodes went by and no one knew. It was pretty quick they figured it out. But again, like I said before, all right, so it was a failure. Why was it a failure? What were the consequences? You get nothing. You can't just state this crap and not say what the reasons were. So, there you go. Number 6. He believed in the rules of Death Note that Light made up. Well, why wouldn't he? It's all... I don't know I want to read the point, but like, the notes are... well, actually, there's two things here. Number one, if you're given a mystical book from a Shinigami, why wouldn't you believe what's written there? You have no reason not to. But if you want to go further with it, he didn't believe it because he actually was going to test the 13-day rule with a criminal, and they would have solved the case. So, no, he didn't believe in the rule. If he did, he wouldn't have done that. And if that was the case, he wouldn't have been killed by Ram. So, no, what are you talking about? Did you actually watch the show or read the manga? My God. Let's do this really quickly here. Before Light gave ownership of the Death Note and let Yatsuba use it to their advantage, he wrote fake rules into it. No, Ryuk did, not Light. When L and the task force found out about these rules, they believed them, though L was suspicious of Light. And one of those rules was if someone used the Death Note, didn't continue to kill people for 13, they would die in 13 days after the last name they wrote down. That made Light appear completely innocent. The other fake rule was that if the Death Note was destroyed, everyone who touched it would die. While L still believed the Light was Kira, the task force completely trusted him, and there was nothing he could have done about it. He was what? He was going to test the Death Note 13 rule. That's what he would have done about it. Now, sure, after he died, they didn't do anything with it, but is that L's failure or the incompetency of the Japanese task force? Oh my God. I don't think this guy watched that. No. These are critical points in the series. Okay, this one is triggering. He let Rem know he'd go after Misa. When Rem and Misa were introduced, Light saw them as threats and wanted to get rid of them. Well, it was just Misa, not Rem, but sure. Knowing that Rem loved Misa and would do anything to protect her, Light made sure Rem knew that Elle was suspicious of her being a second Kira. This caused Rem to write down both Elle and Watchreed's names in the notebook. In less than a minute, all of Light's biggest threats were killed, including Elle. Okay. Why is this Elle's failure exactly? He didn't know Rem had any connection to Misa. You said in your own point that only Light knew about this. Elle didn't know, okay? Elle had no idea that Rem was going to write his name down in a death note if he threatened Misa Amana. He had no idea of any of that. How is that a failure? Because he gave in to Light suggesting something? This is so stupid. It's not a failure. How is it a failure? It's only a failure or a mistake if he knew. You can't hold someone accountable for something that they couldn't have possibly have known. That doesn't make. Oh my god. Wow. I mean, consider this, right? For a moment here. It says that. Actually, before I consider that, one more error it said here, which was Light made sure Rem knew that Elle was suspicious. That's not why Rem killed Elle. Light asked Elle. He said, "What would happen if Misa was Kira? What would be the punishment?" And he said the capital punishment, because she might be killed. They already arrested her in the past, and Rem didn't do anything about it. But because Elle said they would execute her, that's why Rem killed everybody. It had nothing to do with being suspicious. He was going to kill Misa. That's why Rem killed them all. But again, you can't hold Elle responsible for things that were out of his control, and that's what happened in this situation here. That's why this point is so stupid to me, because wow, like there are some scenes where Elle does stuff where it implies he might know more than he should, but this is like next level. And more importantly, in the point itself, they don't even imply at any point that Elle was aware of Rem's relationship with Misa, and in the show itself, that he was not aware of it. So why would he? If you want to say he was unaware of Rem's relationship with Misa, fine. He should have been more aware of like the connection between the Shinigami and the people. Maybe he should have done some more investigation about that. But again, Rem was working with Misa and Light, and she would have lied, which is what she did anyway about the Death Note rules. So it wouldn't have helped. But to state that he somehow knew, even though to hold him accountable for something he didn't know is stupid. Reading a couple comments and we'll move on. Okay. The Netflix Death Note movie gets too much hate. I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but I'll watch it and see what I think. But I'm not. I heard it wasn't that great. Elle's biggest failure was not figuring out life with Kira. Yep. And Elle's other big failure was failing to find the proper footwear. Yeah, he couldn't. Okay, next point. Funny how Aizawa was left out of the Death Note main character article that CBR did, but he's brought up here. Oh yeah, the character arcs, right? That was 1 second. I'm gonna go to this thing. This is so stupid. Take care to be Pennywise. So literally anyway. That's funny. So you go to Death Note. I think it was here. Where was it? It was called character. Yeah, here it was. No, not likability. Yeah, here it was. So in this arc, yeah, you're right. They didn't mention Aizawa at all, even though he had a very important role in the story. So stupid. That's a good point. If something is a failure, it should be clear what the success would have been. Yeah, exactly. Just State, right. If it was a failure, state what could have been, and more importantly, what was the result of not of it not working out. That's all I said. That's all I asked. Right. If this was a failure, explain why. It wasn't though. It was garbage. Okay. Number 4. He didn't choose a successor. Light didn't know there was a whole group of orphans who were raised to become L's successors. However, L died before he got a chance to decide who would replace him. The two best candidates, Mello and Nier, were offered to work together by Roger, the man who took care of them. However, Mello didn't want to work with Nier and ended up leaving. The two would eventually meet again as rivals and wanted to prove each other that they were worthy of being the next L. Although Mello eventually helped Nier catch Light, the rival also caused a lot of bad things to happen in the second half of the series. Okay. So finally, I actually give you arguments. Let's change the base. The argument they're saying here is the following: because he didn't pick someone, it ended up causing like a fight between Nier and Mello, and because of that, that was a problem. And the failure here was the failure here was simply the consequence of the two of them infighting. So I agree, this actually was a failure. However, he did pick a successor, and that was Light. Just to be technically accurate, he did choose Light to replace him. I don't know why he didn't tell Nier or Mello this, that he actually found someone else. It could have been a thing of bad writing. I don't know, but I will agree it was a mistake. I wouldn't call it a failure. It was a mistake. He should have told them that Light was going to be the next L. Also, here's the other thing too about the whole like successor thing. Yes, he should have picked someone, but L's not an old guy. He's relatively young. He wasn't going to die for a long time. So did he have to pick someone now? And Nier and Mello were still kids. Shouldn't he have waited till they were a little older before he picked one or the other to be their replacement? That whole thing kind of confused me anyways, because he told Light, like, if I die, you become me. And I'm thinking, dude, you're like in your 20s. You got a long way to go. I assume that they were roughly the same age. So, well, in that case, they'd be 18. So I don't know what they're talking about, like successors. But sure, I guess it was a failure because he didn't pick someone. Kind of a dumb point, but sure. Okay, these points were from the films. I didn't watch it. And then we have this one here, too. So, yeah. That was I haven't seen the Netflix adaptation. I also haven't seen the live action version. But this one apparently has the version, or the part where L writes his name down to prove Light was curious about the case, but he also died. So I don't know why that's a failure. He won. Isn't that a success? By this logic, then it means that Luke was also a failure because he had to die for the Requiem to work. But he died, so it was a failure, right? That's stupid. This article is terrible. You know, L had failures. Plenty. These were not them, though. These were not them. I think one of the biggest failures that L did, they don't mention it here, you know, it's not a mistake. He wanted Light close to him at all times. I think that was not the greatest decision. It basically got him killed. That was probably a mistake. Maybe getting too close to Light. They said it kind of here, but yeah, I think that might have been a mistake too. But again, a failure is like, what a failure. Well, that's the list there. It's pretty quick because there's not much to say about each point. It's just funny to me how some of these are just so stupid. Like this. Some of these are just so bad. Oh my god. I think the biggest mistake wasn't removing them out here. This one here at this point. It wasn't the fact that he let him on confinement. It was the fact that he let Misa just go outright. But then again, at the same time, he believed the rules. So, I mean, he only can work with what he knows. They're acting as if he has like our viewpoint on stuff, which he doesn't. Because how would he? Insane stuff. Uh, it'd be wise for L to have a successor in case Kira defeated him, which ended up happening. Um, True. Okay, that's a fair point. L should have picked Batman to be successor in alternate universe. The Netflix Death Note movie wasn't terrible. Yeah, again, I've not seen it, so I can't like. I'll take it word for it, I guess. Um, I guess about the whole successor thing, but if that was the case, why didn't he tell Roger he might have someone else in mind? What was so weird is that when Light took the helm as L, they kept calling him like the second L or the fake L. But L picked him to be his successor. So why would I guess Nier and Mello didn't know. If I was Light or L, I would have told him, listen, it may be you two, it might be someone else. You know, it's not always about you guys. That's the problem with the second half of with Death Note. Geass. Death Note. They probably should have explained that more. I read the manga, and I'm pretty sure they don't go in further information about the whole successor thing. I will say though, I don't think it was a huge failure on L's part. L's part. It just Mello just couldn't handle working with Nier. That's why it ended up going that direction. I still think if you think about this, right? Did Mello get angry because I think he never could Nier was always better than him. So we know that Nier probably would have been the one to surpass L and take his spot. So Mello always had a chip on his shoulder anyways. What if L picked him? Then what? No difference in my opinion, because Mello would still have competed for Nier. He still had done the things he did to fight against him. Because Mello was crazy. So either way you look at it, I don't think he made that much of a difference. I think Mello would have still caused problems. He still would have killed the SBK members. Just my thoughts there. But yeah, that's that article there. So we've gone through the Kogias article, the Death Note one, discussed the Red already code. That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the poll for where is it right here? And so it looks like tomorrow morning, and then from there on, we'll go from there. I got a bunch of topics to discuss, and hopefully we'll get out the intelligence article this week. We will see. But we've been in now about 2.5 hours. It looks like it's time to end. And thank you guys for watching. Have a good week. We'll be here next week, Sunday.